So bezel rings and engagement rings have been growing in trends over the last few years. One of the reasons why is because one, they're so comfortable, right? They're set very low, they don't have prongs, there's no snagging. They also are very just easy comfort and very minimalist, elegant designs. And so today we're gonna go over the benefits of having a bezel because there's a lot more than you'd actually think. Changing the different styles of bezels will have serious impacts on your center stone and on the overall aesthetic. And then we're gonna cover the top 5 trends of bezels so that you can kind of like get a little bit inspired for your engagement ring. Hi guys, my name is Dominic Flux. I'm a custom jewelry designer. I've been designing engagement rings for the last decade, and I'm going to mix in a lot of my research and own experience into these videos. So I hope you enjoy. Smash that like button and subscribe. All right, so what are the actual benefits of having a bezel? Because it's not just aesthetic. Having a bezel will, one, add mass to your stone. So if you have a stone that's a little bit on the small side and you want to give it more of like a, more volume, more mass to the appearance, having a bezel is a great option. Another reason is not all stones are cut perfectly. Whether it's because you can't necessarily afford a higher quality stone, or if it's because, sometimes clients bring in their old stones to us and the cuts are simply a little bit wonky. Having a bezel, we will actually go in and correct the shape. And so if you look at this oval, it's a little bit like off at the top of it. In having a bezel, you're not going to see that and your stone is going to appear a lot nicer. So that's just kind of like a little tip and trick. And that's kind of along the same lines of like imperfections. If you have a stone that has like a little bit of imperfections along the girdle, maybe even slightly a little bit of, cracking, whatever it is, this is going to hide those imperfections. Oftentimes when I am buying diamonds for clients, this is actually something that I will do for clients who have a smaller budget. I will try to find stones that have, even if they're a lower quality and clarity, having the imperfection placed around the outside of the stone, this is the perfect opportunity to go in and mask those imperfections. And lastly, can also appear darker. So this may seem contrary to popular belief, but we do get asked quite often to make the stones darker. For example, if you have a stone like an emerald is one of those stones where it's kind of a personal preference. Some people really like them a pale green. I've sold even like pastel green emeralds, and some clients like them very dark green. It depends on your budget. If you want that very intense dark green, but you can only afford a more bright, vivid green because it's going to be less expensive, having it in a bezel with a very small opening underneath is going to allow a lot less light to pass, which means your stone will appear darker. So those are kinds of situations that you can always ask us. We've done it for clients who, not even emeralds, who just wanted a much darker stone. This is always a really good option. All right, so let's talk about the top 5 trends. So number 1, we do have the classic bezel, which we kind of touched on earlier. Again, it adds mass. Usually we set them quite low, so it's a very good option for, a very active lifestyle. Number 2, we have semi-bezels. So semi-bezels are where you can imagine that the bezel is literally just cut down the middle. Generally speaking, we'll have kind of like 2 sides, both extremities in bezels. And so it's kind of like a wall that's kind of almost covering just the sides. It's a very modern take. It allows for more light to pass through. So since the middle is missing, the light is going to come through, and so you're going to have a brighter stone. So that's an option. It also adds a little bit less mass. So if you're someone who does want something a little bit more dainty, that could be a good option for you. It has a very modern appearance and can kind of be used to accentuate certain designs. Number 3, we have half bezels. So half bezels are almost kind of, imagine just a simple donut going around the rim of your stone. It's basically from the top, it will look like a bezel, but once you look from the side, it will basically be cut 2/3 of the stone, the bezel will be missing. And so it has like a very light feeling to it. However, it will still go from the top and have that very clean lines that you like from a bezel. I absolutely love this style. I think it looks great with diamonds, especially for an engagement ring, because you do want as much light passing through your stone as you can, especially for diamond, because that's what's going to make it sparkle, right? So having this half bezel is a really, really good option. It makes it so much lighter, very refined. Next, number 4, we have a hybrid. So the hybrid is kind of like a mix between the half bezel and the semi bezel. Basically what it is usually it's on the extremities. It will wrap but then it will go down. So it's not just going to connect, it's like on either side. And I've been seeing this a lot for engagement rings, especially for elongated cuts, emerald cuts, elongated radiance, elongated cushion cuts. This looks really, really nice. And again, it adds mass, but it's very lightweight. So I had done a ring like this a few years ago with a topaz. And as you can see, you know, had we put it in a full bezel, the stone would have appeared a little bit darker. So this is kind of like a very kind of like modern take. Next we have fancy bezels. So a bezel does not need to be plain. I think people think that it's kind of always just like a very simple, very minimalist, but it doesn't need to be. All along the bezel, there is enough room usually to be able to put anything from diamond pave to a hidden halo to even just elaborate patterns within the bezel. So I think it just looks really cool, and do think that that is an option that you can have. Like you can have like vintage patterns, and because it's on the side, it's not going to be as noticeable, but it's kind of like a little extra touch. I think this is a really fun thing, and I hope it inspires you to do something a little bit cool with your jewel. And yeah, I'd actually like to know what you guys like, because there's different styles, not all of them are as common. Do let me know if this video was helpful. If you guys have any requests for other videos, we'd be happy to do them. My name is Dominique Flux. If you're looking for a custom engagement ring, you can always just send me a DM. The links are down below, and thank you. Bye.